going on, guys? This is Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing the highly anticipated review on the new LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2015 Ant-Man Final Battle, and the setup for this one is 76039. The recommended ages are 6 through 12, and it has piece count of 183, while the price point is $19.99. And for those of you who have not been filled in over the past several months, this is the one and only set that the LEGO Group is putting out for the release of Ant-Man, which is July 17th. It's going to be the final film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's second phase. That's exciting. And it was also really exciting is I cannot wait myself to actually get started on my own custom minifigures after doing this review. But the set itself actually comes out June 1st, so Monday is when you'll be able to head out to your local LEGO store or Toys R Us and pick it up yourself. And to get the set a few days early, it certainly wasn't easy, and most Toys R Us's and LEGO stores have already had this set stashed away in the back, and they're holding off, and they've been holding off until June 1st, and it has been quite a task getting this set a few days early. I was hoping to have it sooner, but none of my stores would budge, and it was just quite an endeavor that I did not enjoy. But I've got the set now, and it's really awesome, and especially for 20 bucks, you get 3 pretty fantastic minifigures, which all unfortunately have one problem that I'll get into in just a minute. But yeah, Ant-Man set. Cannot believe I'm already reviewing this. How is this happening? Oh my god, time. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so our Scott Lang, Paul Rudd Ant-Man minifigure here is really awesome, especially with the torso and the design work that went into it, the red chest area, the metallic elements surrounding it, the utility belt. It's all really accurate. That really awesome design continues onto the thigh area, past there, onto the knees. It's all really consistent, and the same could be said for the back of the torso. It's all really great and pretty much spot on to Paul Rudd's Ant-Man suit in the film. It's just my problems are with the helmet and the head. The helmet design, it's all great all around. You look at this thing and the proportions, the shape, everything, the creases on the top, it's all really awesome. It's just, why is it hollow in the front? Maybe so it's a little more appealing to kids. I mean, he had that, it was sort of like that in the comics in some iterations, but in the film, based on all the promotional, images we've seen, all the trailers, teasers, TV spots, it's always closed. I mean, at one point he has it wide open at like the end of the second trailer, but never with just the mouth open. So I don't understand why the LEGO Group did this with not only Scott Lang, but Hank Pym, as you'll see in a second. So this is definitely a little strange. But what's really cool is the continued trend of having the transparent elements within helmets that the LEGO Group is doing for some characters now, and that is carried over here onto Scott Lang. You can kind of see them used. You can see his eyes through there, and the rest of the head on all the different red parts. They're all transparent. I think that's great having that extra that transparent plastic in there. It just really tops off the helmet design, even aside from the hollow mouth area. But the number one problem is when you pull off the helmet. We've got Ezra's head from Star Wars Rebels. It is the exact same head. I guess Aladdin passes off as being Paul Rudd because it's not like that matters. I mean, I guess maybe the LEGO Group just I guess they think that no one will care, and especially for kids, they won't even notice, and that may be true, but there are still teenage fans and adult fans like us who notice these things, and I really don't appreciate that this is the case for not just the Scott Lang Ant-Man, but this is the case for Yellowjacket and Hank Pym as well. None of these heads are new. This entire set has this problem, and I really hope this doesn't continue, because I don't want to see continued rehashings of different heads, especially when there are such different. It's like a 14-year-old kid from an animated series to me just will always stick with me on this minifigure, because it's like that's supposed to pass off as being Paul Rudd. It just doesn't work for me personally, and so I mean, it has the exact same double-sided face. You guys get the idea. It's just it's really unfortunate that the LEGO Group has not given us any new heads for our one and only Ant-Man set this year. So this sucks, and it's actually pretty much the only problem with this set is that the heads are rehashed. But yeah, there's Scott Lang. Now, Yellowjacket, holy crap. I mean, yes, besides the head, this is a fantastic minifigure. I mean, look at that new helmet mold. That just looks so amazing and so accurate to the helmet that Corey Stoll is sporting in the film as Darren Cross. It's just, I think it's really great. One small nitpick, though, that really doesn't take away from the minifigure, to be honest, because it still does look really good regardless, is the fact that in the film, it's more of like a black suit than a gunmetal gray. and the yellow elements on his torso and legs, they look almost like yellowish greenish, which is strange, but like I said, it really still doesn't take away from the minifigure because it is still fantastic just the way it is. And that helmet mold that you can see, it has a printing on it, which is just definitely a plus, and that just all looks really great. And I cannot wait to paint this thing for my own minifigure of Yellowjacket. And he's actually one big playability feature because he's the only thing in this set to have stud shooters, and you can see for like the arms that he has. Of course, I mean, it's totally understandable why the LEGO Group would use this as an opportunity for playability features instead of making it look accurate, because they really don't look accurate, but it's still okay. But yeah, so stud shooters on both ends of his arms, and you guys know how stud shooters fire. They work just like that. And then, of course, because you guys have probably seen these hinges before, they are articulated and they can bend up and down, and then they actually can rotate at the tips here, and then they can rotate actually by themselves alone, a full 360 as well, which is pretty sweet. So he's overall like the playability element to the Yellowjacket is great, and these the wings, I guess, on the top here, they can bend back and forth on the hinges that they're attached to. It's just my only problem is with all these playability functions attached to Yellowjacket, it makes for one pretty massive looking backpack, and I'm very curious as to why the LEGO Group decided to use a tan piece, because they would have looked so much better with a black. But it's still, like I said, it's still a really just because of the helmet and the design work on the torso and legs, I'm fully accepting of all of that. But when you pull off the helmet here, we've got the freaking Bruce Wayne / Loki / all the other 40 things LEGO Group has used this head for by now. It is just, the LEGO Group, they've really been abusing this head the past few years, and now it's been used on Darren Cross. And I guess, yes, this does kind of, to an extent, look like Corey Stoll. It's just, I really hate seeing rehashings of heads on such important characters like these, like Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. So this is unfortunate. It works, but I still don't agree with it. So yeah, there's that. But if we go ahead and actually pull off the head, just to give you an idea of how all this like massive thing is attached, you can see it's attached by like a standard neck brace, but the piece itself is actually like a 1x2 piece, which holds in the actual arms and everything else that you can see. It's a pretty cool design aside from the tan brick that's used, and I totally understand why it's like that for playability, reasons and purposes like that. But you can see the back of the torso has the same amount of detail, all really awesome, all super accurate, I'm sure. But I mean, aside from the fact that they reuse the Bruce Wayne / Loki head / all the other things we've seen the head used for, it's still a really nice minifigure, and I cannot wait to make my own version of it. But the LEGO Groups was definitely not bad, and I absolutely love the new helmet mold. That is definitely maybe even my favorite part of the set, is just how great that helmet looks. But aside from all that, though, there's Yellowjacket, Darren Cross. Our third and final figure, I guess I already kind of spoiled in the Scott Lang portion of this video, so sorry, but Hank Pym in an Ant-Man suit. This is something we've not seen in trailers or any promotional material for the film. This is something entirely exclusive to the LEGO set as of right now, like in terms of our knowledge of what this is supposed to mean. He's basically like the reverse Flash for Ant-Man. It's like the opposite colors. It's like the same design pretty much, not totally, especially the torso. It's a different design on the torso for the bottom half. But it's like black and red instead of the black silver. You get the idea. So it's definitely pretty menacing looking, and we don't know what this means, though. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a villain just because the colors are intimidating. It could very well mean that maybe Scott Lang gets into some trouble in the film, and then Hank Pym steps in like an extra suit that he has. Who knows what this means? We don't know. It could be a plot twist that could be spoiled in this set. But now I guess we know that Hank Pym will probably suit up at some point, or maybe this is total crap, because I mean, the LEGO Group, they've done this sort of thing in the Iron Man 3 sets, the Mandarin having him in action. We don't really know what this means, but it is what it is in the set, and the torso design is very similar to what you saw in Scott Lang in concept. It's actually more simple and just with less color. It's just a standard red. The leg design is very similar as well, just also with red, and the same can be said for the back of the torso. There's actually even less detail on the bottom half, just in red. And then you can see the base color for the helmet is black, having the exact same transparent red parts that you saw in Scott Lang's helmet, which is great to see again. Same hollow mouth area, same helmet mold in general, but I give up. Gandalf's head. We've got Gandalf for Michael Douglas, everybody. Man, I'd love to just show this to Michael Douglas and be like, hey, I guess you look like Ian McKellen. It's just, why? This is freaking Gandalf the Grey's head, everyone. Why? Same double-sided face. There's this aggressive facial expression. You guys have seen it before if you've seen Lord of the Rings sets. Why on earth could we not have gotten any new heads? I mean, maybe for Yellowjacket, I understand why they gave him that head. It does kind of look like Corey Stoll, but Gandalf and Ezra, seriously, Lego? I really hope this stops happening, because it's really, like, you know, like, kids may not care, but people like me and adult fans of Lego, we notice these things, and it's really bothersome for a customizer like myself. So he does also come with a black head. Don't know why, but it is included with the set, apparently meant for Hank Pym. I mean, I don't think it's a sorry excuse for, like, the helmet's supposed to be looking like it's fully sealed over, like, it, you know, the way we've seen it in the trailers. But it is definitely pretty cool. Makes him look even more menacing. But aside from that, though, there is your spoilerific minifigure included with the Ant-Man Final Battle and all the minifigures that this set has to offer. Alright, now onto the ant itself, along with the pieces that are to scale with the characters when they shrink down. The ant, I guess, would be a queen ant or a male ant, depending on the species, of course, but regardless, you can see this design is really nice. It's a little colorful in some areas, but it still really does capture the ants that, I mean, you know, for like a minifig scale ant that, you know, for Ant-Man to be riding, I think this absolutely works. And you can see right off the bat, the wings here are awesome. These new wings with the printing on the plastic there, it's really sweet and definitely tops this off. I mean, it looks awesome. They're on ball joints with a few technic pieces holding them in, as you can see. So they're fully adjustable and posable in whichever way you want. So that's really awesome as well. And then you can see that there is a 2x2 available space for any of the minifigures, and you can go ahead and we'll just take Scott Lang for now and seat him inside, or I guess on top of it rather. And yes, you can see the minifigure. You know, he sits on top of the ant really well. It looks kind of a little bit more like a cockpit. He's not really on top of the ant. It does kind of look like he's like inside of it, which is a little odd, but still really not that big of a complaint. It's just more of a nitpick over anything. You can see the head is really cool. They even use a couple of transparent yellow studs to capture the eyes, which I guess is pretty cool. And we also have like the ant's teeth right here represented with a couple of like these hinge pieces and the actual tooth pieces wedged in there as well. So that's pretty sweet. The legs are very, very posable. They're fully adjustable for the most part. Obviously, I mean, only the front two can really spin a full 360. I mean, you can spin the legs in the front of full 360 if you move the head a little bit there, but the ones in the back cannot spin a full 360. But you can see these pieces are really, really cool, and this is all one mold. If you guys, you know, wouldn't already know that. I mean, personally, this is my first time actually getting these pieces myself that they use for the legs, so it's pretty cool. These pieces are awesome, and overall, I mean, this entire ant, the design is great. It really does the job. The head is on a ball joint, if you couldn't already tell, so that can be adjusted in any way you want. Aside from that, though, there really isn't much else to discuss with the ant. I mean, I hope I'm not missing anything. There really doesn't seem like there's a lot for me to talk about. It's just overall a great design and does the job for these characters. And so just setting that off to the side while it freaking creaks across the my table here, you can see that we do have the pieces, like I said, that are to scale with the characters when they shrink down. And so you can see we have a couple of pieces here. We have a 1x1 red brick and a 1x2 yellow plate, which is pretty sweet. All completely, you know, like I said, to scale with the minifigures, and they're all made up of several different plates and tiles themselves. And the 1x2, you know, red brick, I guess you can remove if you wanted to, but then what that kind of does is you have the 1x3 white plate attached to the bottom when you do so. You really can't remove the red brick. It doesn't really work. So you have to pretty much just keep it in place on this one, you know, this like white plate that they have everything placed on here. And then the 1x2 yellow plate can actually be used as a catapult for these two screws. Like, I'm not really sure. I guess these screws are actually meant to represent like real life everyday screws. They're not meant to actually be the Lego pieces, I suppose. But you can see we do have a catapult for one of them here, and that just launches like so, and there's pretty much nothing else to it. We do have a super jumper included with this set, so I guess if you wanted to go ahead, I guess we'll use Ant-Man for the super jumper in this review. We'll put him on there, and then we'll take Yellowjacket, position him on top of the brick, and then you guys know how super jumpers work at this point. They're sometimes effective, sometimes not, depending on the force you put down on the back, and so you guys know what super jumpers are and how they work, and that is pretty much it. We do have a couple of ants included with the set, as well, which is really nostalgic for me personally, because the last time I saw these was the start of my YouTube career with the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull sets, the Indiana Jones sets way back in 2008. So like I said, this goes way far back for me, and it's really cool to see these back now in dark blue for this Ant-Man set. But in general, I am absolutely in love with the builds included with this set. I think they look really awesome, definitely do the job, and I think that this is absolutely worth the 20 bucks. And I mean, for the most part, this is great. This is really awesome, and there's really not much else that I really have to say regarding the set itself. The minifigures are really what I came here to discuss, I think, because I think we all knew based on the pictures of the set itself and the builds included were going to be awesome, and especially for 20 bucks. So without further ado, though, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the box, instruction manual, comic book, extra pieces, and we'll wrap up my final Marvel Cinematic Universe review of the year. Actually, a couple other things to note on, if you couldn't already tell, these 2x2 tiles with, you know, they're on the tips of all these pieces. These are all stickers, if you couldn't already tell, and they're pretty cool having the Lego logo in the sides like this, and, you know, the detail that goes on top of these screws for these. It's really nice and definitely great for effect. And what's also great for effect is how they actually give us the same pieces, but in, you know, the actual pieces themselves, you know, for when the characters are human size. So I think, you know, that's really awesome. That's just pretty cool that the Lego group threw these couple of pieces in there just for the hell of it. So, aside from that, though, that's pretty much it for the review now that I showed you that. And now we can go ahead and finish up this video. The box of the Ant-Man Final Battle is pretty small, but you can see we've got Scott Lang and Darren Cross battling it out on like a living room floor, which is pretty sweet. We've got that promo art of Ant-Man that we've seen all over the place, Ant-Man logo down there, and then we've also got Scott Lang sporting the actual size reference, along with Hank Pym, I guess, chasing Darren Cross, who is still in the 2 Lego pieces included with the set, I guess potentially indicating that he won't be a villain just because his suit is black and red. But then you can see on the back here, we do have pretty much like the same general background going on here. We've got some paper clips back there like a baseball, and it's a pretty cool design. I think it portrays, you know, what Ant-Man is as a character pretty well, and definitely gets the job done. So there's your box. The instruction manual is a 57-page build, and you can see that number right there in the bottom right-hand corner. We've also got all the same playability features that were shown on the box, along with an advertisement for the entire summer lineup of LEGO Marvel Superhero sets, including this one, and hopefully I'll be able to review all these sets, guys. I mean, it's just, I honestly don't know, but I will try. Definitely looking forward to them regardless, and you can see we do have an advertisement for the upcoming LEGO Avengers game, which is coming out this fall, so that's pretty sweet, and or at least I think it's coming out this fall. Hopefully I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Instruction manual, pretty basic. The comic this time is kind of weird. The illustrations are great as always, but if we go ahead, I'm just going to do the regular routine and flip through it, let you pause through so you can have a look at it and read through it if you'd like. And so yeah, just pause at each page if you want to take a look at all the illustrations included this time around. And so you have, you know, Miles Morales, Rhino, Sandman, Iron Spider all in action. It's all really cool, but what's really funny is for whatever reason, I have to flip the comic upside down to the other side and then read through it this way for the Ant-Man portion of it, which is really, really odd. I'm not sure. I mean, let me know if this happens to you guys, but if this is actually like an official thing that the LEGO group decided to do, why? It's just really strange. But regardless, though, that is pretty much it for the comic this time around that I'll be showing you in the rest of the new LEGO Marvel Summer Set reviews if I'm able to do them. The extra pieces really aren't that exciting at all. Just a couple of extra tiles, a few extra studs for Yellowjacket, a cheese slope in there, connector tooth, you know, one of these pieces for the stud shooters that are with Yellowjacket. I mean, nothing too exciting, but that's pretty much it, though, for this review. And finally, let's go ahead and wrap up this video.
You tried to hide your suit from me. Now, it's gonna blow up in your face and destroy everyone you care about.
Hey. Alright guys, and there you go, my review on the Ant-Man Final Battle, and if you enjoyed the review, maybe found it informative, or if you just plan on getting the set in general, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on the set down in the comments, as it is a pretty fantastic set, even regardless of the heads. It is, you know, the build itself, as everything I already went over, for 20 bucks, it is absolutely worth it, and you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links to all three of those are down in the description below, as always, and I post all kinds of super cool photos, like I always say, of minifigures that I'm working on, and you know, those minifigures. I'm about to be showcasing Daredevil, Force Awakens, Stormtrooper. I'm working on a lot of minifigures myself for Ant-Man, maybe Fantastic Four later in July. So a bunch of cool stuff that I can post way sooner over there than I can over here, which is why I always recommend it. So aside from that, though, that is pretty much it for my one and most likely only Ant-Man review, unless LEGO has some secretive plans for releasing like a set in December or something, which I doubt they do. But aside from that, yeah, that's pretty much it. I cannot wait for the film. This set is a great portrayal of some of the things that will obviously be happening in the film. I cannot wait to see what this is about, this guy right here on the right. But yeah, guys, I'll catch you later. All right.
Bye.
Battle, and instead of this one, the helmet, while shit, all these designs, these are all completely made of stickers. Help me. Finally be able to get, you know, mother freaking. Okay, you're designing faces for Paul Rudd and Corey Stoll. I've emailed you everything you need. Just get back to me when you've come up with something, all right?
Tomorrow.
Have I seen these before?
Nope.
Perfect. Going to be releasing for the film. I'm done.